Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Trish Delish. I'm super excited today because I'm sharing with you a method of how to cook lechon kawali. We're gonna take this pork belly and crisp it up in the oven instead of deep frying it. Before we get started, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. If you're ready, let's get started. So a few things about our pork belly. When we choose one from the store, we want to make sure that we have about a 4-pound piece of pork belly, and we want to see if the pork has a nice even layer. We don't want something that's super bulky on one side, thin in the middle, and that's so we can make sure that the whole pork belly will cook evenly at the same time. 24 hours before you want to cook your pork belly, you're actually going to rest it in the refrigerator uncovered on a tray with the skin side up. What this will do is it will draw out any moisture on the top layer of the pig skin so that when we put it in the oven, it'll be as dry as possible. While we're seasoning our pork belly, go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees with the rack set in the middle. I have about 1 large head of garlic cloves here peeled, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to insert it into little slots that you create by using the point of your knife into the pork belly. You want to go about halfway into your flesh so that you don't actually pierce the pork skin on the other side of the belly. And if you slice it at a diagonal, it's a little bit easier to create a pocket. So about 45-degree angle into the meat, and use your other finger to kind of open back up and then put it into your meat. All right, so our next step is to season with salt and pepper, but we want to create a little bit more surface area on the meat. So using just the tip and edge of your blade, you're going to lightly score into your meat. Just run your blade very shallow into the pork belly and then go again diagonally across. Just go ahead and massage the salt into those little cuts that you just made. Same with your pepper. Now we're going to make a little roasting bed for our pork belly. So we have about 4 stalks of lemongrass. What I've done is just simply peeled off the thicker, older edges of the lemongrass, washed and dried it, and cut it into about 1.5-inch length slices. About 4 green onions as well, cut the same way. And then just a little bit left over garlic that we inserted from our pork belly. Now I've mixed these fragrances and aromatics just on 2 pieces of aluminum foil. And so what we're going to do is invert our pork belly flesh side down and just spread out that bed of flavor. And then we're going to make a little package. And when you make your package, you want to make sure that you are wrapping tightly against the skin because we're about to pour a lot of salt around it. The pork belly along with the lemongrass, garlic, and green onions are now on my baking sheet, and I'm just doing one last check to make sure that all of the aluminum foil is sealing off from the skin to the flesh, because we are going to pour about a cup of iodized table salt all over your pork skin. During the baking process, this will absorb any of the fat that will render out of your pork skin. And this is the first step to make it crispy. You just want to smooth it out a little bit to make sure that everything is evenly coated. And you'll notice that the skin isn't absorbing the salt. It's simply just laying there. It's not getting wet. And that's because we did that air drying for 24 hours before we started this preparation. All right, our oven is preheated to 350 degrees, and we're gonna bake this for the first time for about an hour. All right, so it's been about an hour in the oven, and you can see that our salt has absorbed some of the oils because it's actually changed color. And I'm just going to remove it gently. And now we're going to finish the cooking process by heating it in the oven at 400 degrees for approximately 45 minutes to an hour, or until crispy. So it actually took a little bit longer than the 45 minutes to an hour, but I did keep checking on my lechon so that it wouldn't burn. So we'll do the crunch test, but we'll first wait about 15 minutes for one, it to cool down, and two, really mainly so that the juices can reabsorb into the meat and redistribute and be nice and juicy when we cut into it. This has probably been the longest 15 minutes of my life, and we'll go ahead and cut our lechon kawali. We're actually going to invert it skin side down onto your chopping board because you want to cut on the flesh side and not the skin side, so that you can have a prettier cut. You can see how tender the meat is because my garlic actually fell out of the meat there. All right, you need a really sharp knife to get through that skin. Beautiful. Can I just show you how juicy that is? Nice and crispy skin, nice and juicy. I'll just cut these pieces into smaller bite-sized chunks. Now we're going to build an accompaniment and salsa for our pork belly. We just have our acids, which will be our white vinegar and calamansi juice, and then our soy sauce, which adds salt and lots of flavor. And then to sweeten it up, just a little bit of sugar and then some black pepper. Give that a mix. And then we have some green onions, garlic, red onions. You could use white onions if you don't have any red onions. And chilies. You can use any kind that you like. These are chili labuyo, the Filipino red chilies. And then finally, our tomatoes. I love a lot of tomatoes in my salsa, so I go heavy on them. Feel free to use as much as you like. And as usual, all the ingredients and instructions for the recipe will be down below in the description box. Thanks for joining me today when we made this lechon kawali in the oven. Cleanup was a breeze by just throwing away all that aluminum foil that we used on our pan liner. When you're serving your lechon kawali, don't forget to serve it with that tomato salsa we made earlier today as well. If you like this video and recipe, don't forget to hit that thumbs up like button down below and share the video with your family and friends. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.